Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is part 2 of me ranking British comedies. In part 1 we ranked all of the BBC comedies, and in this part we're going to be ranking all of the Channel 4 comedies, plus 2 that didn't fit into either category. Don't worry, they're all going to be on the same alignment chart, but yeah, so let's get into it. Also, if you haven't seen part 1, definitely go and watch that first. It will be linked down below and then you can come back to this video. I just want you guys remember that these all are just my opinions, although I'm trying to keep it unbiased. I feel like I'm going to have a little bit of bias in this part, so I apologise. I have my alignment chart here, so if you see me looking down, that's why, because I have my iPad down here. And yeah, I need to see what I'm looking at. So the first show that we have to rank is The Inbetweeners, and this is going into 5. I was really debating whether to put it into 4 or 5, but I couldn't think of any reason for it to not go into 5. Like, it's so iconic, there's so many jokes in it, it's very, very relatable, if a bit too relatable at sometimes, but you know, that is purely subjective. I can relate to it as a college student. And yeah, I just think it's brilliant. The chemistry between the 4 characters is really great. They're so distinct. I just love it. Also, I'm going to talk about this a lot more with a lot of the shows that we have to come, and I feel like they ended it on a really, really great note. They knew when to end it. They knew when their ideas are running out, and they gave us a really, really high quality 3 seasons. I think like 18 episodes of content. They didn't stretch it out to please the fans, because that just doesn't work, and I will talk about that a little bit more with the next show. And yeah, I definitely think they did a really, really great thing with The Inbetweeners, and I have not seen a school sitcom quite like it before. The next show that we have is Friday Night Dinner. Now, I'm putting this in 4 because of the reasons I just said about The Inbetweeners. The Inbetweeners, they knew when to finish, they knew when, you know, their content was at its peak, so they decided to end it on a high note. Now, Friday Night Dinner, all the way through, it's funny. However, the first few seasons, so much better than the last few seasons. I'm not saying they weren't good, they were just much, much better written, I think. It was just, and you know, the characters, it just felt more natural, and I think it just really let itself down with the last 2 seasons, definitely. Again, not saying that they weren't funny, it was just a bit of a letdown. I was quite disappointed, although I still do like to rewatch them again and again. Also, if you think about the context of this show, it was originally based on Robert Popper's life. Like, the family was based on Robert Popper, the director's and writer's real family. And even he himself said that after the first few seasons, it stopped being that. It stopped being from real events that happened in his life, and he just started making it up as he went along. And you can definitely see that decline in the writing quality, because it does not come from his heart, it does not come from his head. They are just grasping at strings to try and get it to be funny. And again, I think this was a really, really good example of it being fan service. Because the show was so popular, it's the second on the Channel 4 category, in the comedy category, after The Inbetweeners, and you can just tell they were doing it to please the fans. Again, not that that's a bad thing, but in this case they were running out of content and it just didn't really work. Again, not saying it wasn't funny, but they could have done it much better, or they should have just ended it on a high note. The next one we have to rank is Peep Show. Now, I feel like people are going to be very unhappy with me for this placement, but I'm putting Peep Show in 2. Now, there were some really, really great bits in the first few seasons, and I'm saying like season 2 to 3, but other than that, it just felt boring and it just felt forced. I'm sorry. Like, I don't even remember the name of David Mitchell's character, honestly, and I've seen it twice, like the show all the way through twice. I don't remember the name of David Mitchell's character. I remember Mark, was it Mark? Anyway, I did not like the relationship between David Mitchell's character and Olivia Colman's character. I remember Sophie, because I love Olivia Colman. I did not like the relationship at all. It went on for way too long, it was way too long-winded, and I just didn't like, they had no chemistry in my opinion, and I just didn't like it. And also, I've never quite got used to the way they shot it. I know it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, and like you are, like, you know, it is a actual peep show, But just in my opinion, I never got used to that, and I just never liked it, and it was just made it really uncomfortable for me to watch. So yeah, I don't really enjoy Peep Show. I don't really like it. And again, it was not funny all the way through. It just felt forced. Too many seasons. It could have ended on season 3 and we would have had some amazing comedy, but unfortunately I think it just went on for way too long and they did too much with too little. The next show is Smack the Pony. Now, I was really unsure as to whether to put this in 2 or 3, but I'm putting it in 3 just because I really like the premise of it. I love that it's the fact that it's 3 women doing something they love, you know, doing just a wacky, fun sketch show, and yeah, I just love that. Although I just didn't really like the sketches. I just didn't really find it that funny. Some of them were really funny, but then some of them were really just not funny. They just felt like filler. And some of the recurring sketches I just didn't like, which was really bad because they were recurring sketches. Yeah, I didn't really find it funny, but at the same time, I love the premise. I love the fact that it's 3 women. And yeah, some of the sketches were really excellent. And yeah, it's very neutral. I'm very neutral on Smack the Pony. I'm not gonna watch it again in a hurry. The next one we have is the IT Crowd, and I feel like I could not do a video about a ranking video about the IT Crowd and not put it in 5. I was actually debating putting it in 4 just because it is entirely written by Graham Linehan, and we don't support Graham Linehan. He is not a very good person. But I think the whole thing is just saved by Chris, Richard and Catherine's chemistry. They carry the show, and although it is written by an awful person, it would definitely not be the same without those 3. They are just amazing. Catherine Parkinson, she is such a strong female lead. Richard Ayoade he's just Richard Ayoade. You cannot go wrong with that. And Chris O'Dowd, he is just so lovable. I just love him. So those 3 together alone, they saved that show from it could have been something that was really not bad. I'm not saying Graham Linehan is a bad writer. He is just not a good person. So I feel like that outweighs the fact that he's a good writer. So yeah, those 3 alone absolutely saved that show. Their chemistry is just incredible, and I have not seen a trio as good as them since. On top of that, every episode is memorable. Everything, there's just so many jokes in it that you can just quote. Like, I quote jokes from the IT Crowd probably more than any other show on this list. It's just so memorable. Every episode is memorable. There's no episodes that I don't like. There's obviously episodes that I like more than others, but there's no episodes that I skip or I just don't like. And I think the work outing episode is, I can say with confidence, one of the best British comedy episodes of anything ever. And if you've seen it, I think you'll agree with me. The next one is Fresh Meat. Now, I'm putting this in 1 only because I just really didn't like it. Honestly, that's all I can say about it. I watched the whole thing. I love Charlotte Ritchie. I love Jack Whitehall, but other than that, I got absolutely nothing out of that show. I don't think I laughed once. Yeah, that's all I can say about it. And the only reason I watched it was because of Charlotte Ritchie. I really love her. I'm sorry, Charlotte. I just really didn't like this show. It's just not really my style of comedy, and it is kind of an outlier in this, is that it is a newer comedy, and I feel like I don't really like the newer comedies. I prefer the older comedies, you know, the sitcoms with a laugh track. I know not many people like laugh tracks, but I personally really like them if they're done well. And yeah, Fresh Meat, it really just didn't do it for me. There was nothing like objectively wrong with it. Unlike Little Britain, which is in the same tier, there's a lot wrong with Little Britain. Just Fresh Meat, I didn't really like it. There's nothing I can really say about it. There's nothing I really liked about it. The next show on this list is Spaced, and this is going straight into 5. I feel like Spaced is so overlooked in the British comedy, like, community. Although it's not really a community, but like, when people talk about British comedy, they do not talk about Spaced unless like they are very cultured. I feel like it's so overlooked. I mean, it is directed by Edgar Wright. Yes, it was directed by the guy who directed Scott Pilgrim, the director of Baby Driver, the director of the Cornetto trilogy. Like, and everything I feel like you see in those trilogies and in those films is in this show. Like, I definitely think that this is Edgar Wright's best project by far. Yes, better than the Cornetto trilogy, better than Scott Pilgrim, better than Baby Driver. It's just amazing. I think it might be because there's a little bit more content because it is a show, but it just shows how clever he is as a director. Because the show is very low budget, it was shot on quite a low budget, and I feel like Edgar Wright, he leans into that, he takes advantage of that, and it really does feel like it's a really intimate little show, and it is about a really close-knit group of friends living in this surreal house. It's just amazing, and Simon Pegg is incredible. He's probably my favourite actor. And yeah, if you watch Spaced and then you watch the Cornetto trilogy, you will appreciate it on a whole new level. I know I did. And you will see the recurring actors and the recurring themes, and if we didn't have Spaced, we wouldn't have the Cornetto trilogy. Just let that sink in. Every single one of the Cornetto films, I feel like, was inspired by Spaced, especially Shaun of the Dead. It was literally inspired by a scene in Spaced. So if you haven't seen Spaced, you need to watch it. Like, it's not even a choice. You have to watch it. No, I'm joking, but it is incredible and you will not regret it. Next up, we have Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Now, I'm putting this in 3. I don't love it, I don't hate it. I feel like I should love it because I do really like that style of comedy, but I think they really leaned into the surrealism a little bit too much, that they forgot about the comedy aspect. Like, I don't really like all of the episodes. There's only 6 episodes, I think, but it just kind of merges together too much. And some of the scenes in it were very like, whoa, very graphic. And I know it was supposed to be comedic, but it was intense. It's a very intense, surrealist ride, and yeah, I like it. I really like the premise of it. I like the idea of it. I'm still trying to get my head around like who is Garth Marenghi and like all of the different characters and actors. It's like a show within a show. I'm still trying to get my head around that, honestly. I think I need to watch it again. But yeah, it's really, really great. It's great surreal comedy. But it's just a ride. It's very, very intense. They packed a lot into 6 episodes, and I feel like you either love it or you hate it, even though I'm in the middle. So yeah, it's definitely very good. I definitely think you should give it a watch. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. Okay, the next show that we have to rank is Green Wing. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to be trying not to be biased in this, but this is my favourite out of all of the shows on this alignment chart, so it is going straight into number 1. And I feel like if you've seen it, you will know that this show is incredible. I talked about it a little bit in episode 1 of this series, when I was comparing it to Come Fly With Me. Like, the premises are very, very similar. But this is just done so much better than Come Fly With Me, in the fact that it's done in that kind of style where it's in a space where there's loads of people coming and going. Like, Come Fly With Me is done in an airport, Green Wing is done in a hospital. And I've definitely watched a little bit too much behind the scenes. Like, I've watched all of the cast commentaries for this, and they filmed it in a real hospital. And it's just brilliant. Like, I cannot praise this show highly enough, and it is just so underrated for what it is. Like, the writing style is just amazing. Like, I have never seen a show this clever before. Like, and it's like a sitcom, like, and it's actually got like real drama, and it's quite hard hitting sometimes, but it's just funny. Like, it's like a sketch show, but all the characters are the same. And it's like a drama, but it's funny, and it's surreal, and it's wacky, and it's just amazing. If you needed any more motivation to watch it, it's got Tamsin Gregg from Friday Night Dinner. It's got Mark Heap from Friday Night Dinner as well. So they're both in it, and Mark Keeper basically plays the same character as Jim from Friday Night Dinner. Yeah, it's just amazing. I have no bad words about this series. I really want to do a whole video on it, so if you want that, then just let me know, because I think Caroline Todd especially is one of the best protagonists I've seen, and I also think Green Wing is definitely a great feminist piece of media. So if you want to see that, then just let me know, because I have so many good words to say about this series, and I just think it is so underrated for what it is. The next one we have to rank is Black Books, and this is going straight into number 5. I feel like the number 5 position is becoming a little bit less meaningful now, but I just cannot separate all the shows that are going into it. Like, I cannot see a reason for Black Books to be moved down. It is just so good. I just love it so much. It's so cozy, it's so well written, it's so surreal but so natural at the same time, and the 3 protagonists, Bernard, Manny and Fran, they are just, the chemistry between them is just so amazing. Like, you feel like you know them, but then when you watch it you feel like you actually really don't know much about them, but you know them but you don't. It's done really, really well, and the just surreal elements to it are just amazing. And again, it's got Tamsin Greig in it. She's probably my favourite actress. And yeah, she's in it, so if you wanted more reason to watch it, she's in it. And also Simon Pegg makes a cameo. Yeah, it's just so good. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's just amazing, it's beautifully written, it's so cozy, it's so natural, and again, it's a great example of a show ending on a high note. They've had a great run of, I think it's only 18 episodes again, but those 18 episodes, or no, I think even like, yeah, no, it is 18 episodes, I can't do maths, 18 episodes of just amazing, high quality TV, high quality comedy. And they knew when to end it. They knew when it was, getting old. They knew when they run out of ideas. And yeah, it's just amazing. And it ends on a really, really great note. The next one we have is Plebs. Now, this is another example of a newer show. So I am putting it straight into 3. Now, the reason it's in 3 is because, again, it is an example of them doing too much with too little. I feel like the first 3 seasons were amazing. They were packed with so many jokes, so many funny jokes within the context of the show. That is another thing. I really, really love the premise of this show. As an ancient history kind of nerd, it's very inaccurate, but I love what they did with the premise. I thought it was so clever, so innovative. I've never seen something like it before. But they just kind of lost that in the like latest seasons, to the point where I just didn't really enjoy watching it. Like, I felt like it was a chore to watch it and enjoy it. Like, there were still funny moments, but they were just too few and far between. It just felt like more of an entertainment show rather than a comedy show. But that being said, I really love the premise of it. I think the characters are so funny, especially Grumio. He is one of the most funny, like, newer comedy characters that I've seen. He's funny all the way through, regardless of the situation. But yeah, I feel like the first 3 seasons were so strong. They should have stopped it there. Again, it's an example of like fan service, I think. The next seasons they didn't really do it for me. Okay, so we made it to the end, and this is the final show on this list. And that show is Yonderland, and this is going straight into 5. Now, I mentioned this in part 1, about like the 6 idiots doing, different characters, different sketch comedies. This is, I think, the best thing the 6 idiots have done by a massive mile. And that's saying that the other 2 things, Ghosts and Horrible Histories, and also Bill, that's not really a show, but it's still something they've done. This is by far the best thing that they have done. It is just so good. Like, they had Jim Henson's puppeteers come in to help with the show. That's how you know it's a good show. And also they had Stephen Fry coming in. Like, it's a good show when you've got Stephen Fry, coming in to do season 3. Like, the jokes, they're just like that. They keep on coming, but like, they don't feel forced. It's just come in and go in, and like, you can relate to it. And there's so many cool innuendos in it that like go over your head as a kid and now you get as an adult. I definitely got that because I just recently rewatched it, and yeah, like there are so many innuendos that you don't get the first time. So it's definitely a show for kids and for adults and for everyone. It's just amazing. It's so magical, and like the steampunk vibes in it as well. That's something I really didn't notice in the first few watchings. Like the steampunk vibes and the aesthetic of it. It's just so great. The characters are memorable. Every episode is memorable. Again, it's got puppets in it. It's just such an amazing world, an amazing little premise, and a great, almost a parody of, you know, stuff like Narnia and all of those shows where, you know, you see someone going into a foreign world or like another magical world through a magical portal. It's just amazing. I have nothing bad to say about it. And also, coming back to the thing of it being, you know, not fan service. Like the Six Idiots had this idea and they ran with it for 3 seasons, and those 3 seasons were comedy gold. And everyone was wanting, all the fans were wanting a season 4. Like everyone was waiting for that announcement that it was going to be renewed for season 4. But the Six Idiots knew that they didn't have as much material to make it as good as it could be. So they stopped it, which just shows that it was for the art and for the love of comedy that they were making this show, not to serve the fans. And I just think that is so powerful and it's so great. And too many shows fall into the trap of fan service these days, and this is just an example of a great show that just knew when to stop. So we made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. This was so much fun to make. This is the completed tier list. I really want to know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. What do you think I got right? What do you think I got wrong? What do you think could have been higher or lower? And anything that I also missed out, and where would you place it? And I also just want to know your favourite British comedies and what your thoughts and opinions are on this. I really want to do more videos like this. I want to do like more essay length videos about, you know, specific comedies or programs or whatever you want to do. I might also do one of these alignment videos for like panel shows. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, also if you have just discovered my channel from this series, I do make art videos. I make like Britcom art, so if you follow my Instagram you'll see a lot of that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!